Welcome to my artisanal video series. I'm Marie-Nicole, for those of you who don't know me, and for those who do, welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, I'm actually an artisan and I'm also a content creator and a coach mainly in the business area and also the digital space. But this particular playlist is focused on artisanal living because that is a way of being for me. And so for today's topic, I want to talk about the art of abundance, valuing time and talent over currency. And what sparked this topic was that I am a part of a challenge at the moment as a content creator. And the topic for today's challenge was, if money were not an issue, what would you do? Now, this is a topic I have contemplated many times before as a part of my business training and courses that I have done and just planning for business in general. But it is a beautiful question to actually consider regularly over and over again. What if money wasn't an issue? What would you do? But today I actually reframed the question. I thought I want to actually approach this from a different perspective. And the value I got out of reframing it and actually journaling on it, I turned it into a journal prompt. I thought it would be really helpful to share with you on this playlist. So that's why I chose this for today's topic. Now, the way that I reframed this question was, rather than saying if money were not an issue, what would I do? I reframed the question as, if money were not our means of currency or energy exchange, what contribution would I make to support others in thriving in exchange for what I need to support my thriving? And I thought that that was a really beautiful way to look at it, because I think for far too long, we've looked at this question of what would I do if money wasn't an issue as an opportunity to do nothing, to have the freedom to choose how we spend our days and not have to work for money. But what if we change that to what contribution would we make with our natural gifts and talents, doing what brings us joy and makes us feel fulfilled, like we are living on purpose, with purpose, in exchange for what we need to support ourselves, especially with things that are not within our skill set. In my journal contemplations, what it sparked for me was that I like creating space where others can immerse themselves in activities and support them in creating a life of thriving for themselves, learning new skills and methods to put towards their everyday living practices and add magic to everyday living experiences. Now, how I would spend my days if money were not the focus would be traveling the country and the globe to learn traditional artisanal skills and supportive habits and practices that not only serve me, but things that I can bring back and help others with. I would immerse myself in experiences that ignite my creativity and fuel my passion, exploring wild nature, taking in the details that contribute to each unique ecosystem that I visit. And I would immerse myself in cultural experiences, learning their crafting techniques and supportive daily practices, to then bring my learnings and insights back to contribute to the experiences of those who I create and hold space for and facilitate in developing habits and practices for crafting wares that contribute to them living a life of magic and flow. Thinking of money as the exchange of energy that enables me to charge for what I create, to support others, and as a means for me to then use that money to pay for the services and support I need for my thriving, takes that negativity out of charging for products and services. Because then I see currency as a way of helping energy flow through the collective and support each other in contributing our unique thread to our collective tapestry. So with that in mind, then what if we looked at our working with our natural abilities and skills as our purpose, rather than needing to find a job that supports us in engaging in our gifts and talents? How much happier and healthier would we be if that was what we spent our days focusing on? That to me is really the essence of artisanal living. The opportunity to use digital tools offers us today the ability to connect with others from across the globe and share this journey of self-discovery and support each other in thriving. Taking part in this challenge is a really good example of that. It's for digital content creators and business owners. We are all across the globe. And it's because of the digital tools that I get to share my love of artisanal practices and making and look at things in a different way. I'm going to share more about this challenge in an upcoming podcast episode, which is A Life by Design. But I thought that it would be really good to actually let you know what that podcast episode is going to be about. And it's actually beyond algorithms, aligning content creation with natural rhythms. So if you're someone who creates as an income stream and you struggle with this aspect of your business, then this episode could be supportive to you to listen to. But in this video, I really wanted to focus on what it is that we are naturally gifted in or drawn to learning more about, that we appreciate in the talents of others, that we're really grateful for, that others have actually honed their craft in. Now, in my previous video or the first video, I can't remember which one it was now, I shared like a beautiful artisan crafted cup that I use to drink my ginger and lemongrass tea in, and how much that adds magic to my days. Now, I didn't make that cup myself, but I appreciate that somebody else has honed their craft and I get to enjoy the outcome of their craft. But what I want you to think about for a moment is in this scenario that instead of looking at money as the focus or the issue, if your exchange was what you do, what you are passionate about, what would you contribute to the collective? Are you an artisan? Do you make, like I do, products with your hands? Or are you a storyteller, a songwriter, a singer, a knitter, a metalsmither? Whatever it is. It may not even be something tangible in terms of items, which a storyteller, you think about village living in, in years gone by when you would have someone of an evening telling a story through song or even telling a story around a campfire. That is their gift and that is their contribution to the collective. So in this scenario where if you were taken care of for doing what it is you are passionate about, what would you spend your days doing? And what have you created for yourself or someone else has created that contributes to your everyday living experience that you are truly grateful for? I would like to know. So share that with me in the comments because I would really love to hear what it is that adds magic to your days. Now, my reflection on what I do naturally outside of making artisanal products is creating space and holding space for others. When I was at university living in the dormitory, I used to have girls that came to my room and would share stories of challenges they were going through or things that they had been through, things that they had never told anyone else. And it actually got to the point where I had to go and see the campus counsellor to share all of these emotional challenges that people had been sharing with me because I was processing it on their behalf and they weren't even my challenges. So I didn't invite this into my field. I didn't say, I'm campus counsellor, the student campus counsellor, come and talk to me of a night time about all of your challenges. It just happened naturally. And the campus counsellor actually told me that it was because I had this, she actually referred to me as having a cow's face. And as someone who's easy to just share things with because I didn't judge people. I just opened up this portal that allowed them to offload what they were doing. Now, when I had a commercial space, I had the same experience happen because I didn't actually choose that as my profession going forward. After university, I went on to become a photographer and I was capturing the beauty of living in everyday living experiences for people. And so it was really interesting for me when I then transferred across from photography to my artisanal brand and I opened up a commercial space and I found that people would come into this space, which was a beautiful heritage building, and the retail space was open to the public certain hours and certain days, and it was upstairs. So it was on the main street, but it was still tucked away. And people would come in and they would share the stories of their lives or current challenges that they were going through, and they would process it. And I would support them in working through it. And it was a really lovely thing to do, but it wasn't actually what that space was created for. Originally, it was to sell my artisanal wares and on behalf of other people. So I realized that this experience coming back into my field was trying to tell me something, that I actually had a talent that was a natural ability that was supportive to other people that I could actually use as a part of my way of earning an income. And so that's when I got my certification in coaching. And so this space, which was beautiful for the senses, creating that whole sensory experience, was also a safe space for people to share what they were challenged with. So I would coach outside of retail hours as a way of building my coaching skills so that I could integrate the two together. It was all about combining my artisanal skills and gifts, which help people organize their life or add magic to their everyday living experiences through what they use, even what they wear, and then holding space for people through my coaching. And I have come to see that my artisanal practices actually are complementary to the coaching. I did not actually start making artisanal products in order to solve people's problems. I started my handcrafting journey to solve my own problems. I have been journaling for many years, and I made this journal with separate notebooks that are all within the one cover that have different topics in each notebooks, because after 20 years of journaling in the one book, I started to realize that it was actually very hard to find the thoughts again that were related to business or related to personal growth or related to my podcast episode topics that I wanted to actually use. So I actually separated my thoughts and I created this journal cover with a book strap to hold my pencil and my eraser, and that just goes on the outside of the journal. And because I like to write in pencil, I always need a sharpener and I'm not always near a rubbish bin, so I have this little pouch that I put underneath the book strap, and that's where I sharpen my pencil into. So this was to solve my problem. It wasn't to solve somebody else. I didn't come in and say I need a journal cover to do these things, but people asked me if I would make them to sell. So I did. And the same with my kangaroo fur vest, which you will often see me wear because it is my practical vest that I wear to not only keep warm, but to be able to maneuver my arms freely. Because when I had market stalls that I was setting up and really early morning starts and it was freezing cold and wearing a coat, I had often ripped my coat by putting up a marquee or hanging things up high or just carting things around. So I made a kangaroo fur vest, which keeps me warm. And then over the course of the day, I was able to take the layers off under the vest and I would wear the vest over the top of a singlet and my temperature was regulated. And then people started to ask me if they could actually buy them. And so I started to make them to order, not because I created them to sell, but because they solved a problem for me. The same with my feather bookmarks. I make feather bookmarks because I actually used to use feathers all the time in my books, and I found that they were very durable. And I love feathers. As you can see, I work with feathers a lot. They were durable, so I would use them in my books, but then I just wanted to add a little touch of magic to it. So I was binding leather around the end of the feathers, and then I put my little label on it. And I was just, at first, it was actually something that I did to gift to other people. And I had one sitting on the counter in the shop, and people would often pick it up and ask if it was for sale. So I started making them to sell. I just put feather bookmarks everywhere. I sold a lot of feather bookmarks in that store and on my market stalls and at festivals. And it's just these types of things that we dismiss, that we utilize in our everyday living experience, that we handcraft to solve our problem, can actually be supportive to someone else. Linen garments is another good example of this. I wear linen because it helps me stay cool. I feel hot in humid temperatures, especially. I really struggle with the heat. And so I run hot generally. So I wore linen to help keep me cool. And I was raised with a mother who was a seamstress. So I've been sewing since I was a kid. I never had the intention of actually creating garments to sell to other people. But because people liked the garments that I was wearing, I'll add to that that I have a physique which is a Mauritian physique, which is curvy, and not all things in the fashion industry were designed for my physique. So I was making things to suit me. And by me doing that, people saw me wearing garments and moving through my days effortlessly and feeling confident rather than feeling like what I was wearing wasn't designed for my physique. And people asked me if they could buy them. So I started making them for my market stall. Actually, it started on my market stall even before I had a shop. And then when I had the shop, I introduced that into my range, and I made things to order. And I also adjusted the like necklines or the armhole placements so that it suited the person wearing it. And then we started holding events called Made to Measure and making it for people specifically to suit their physique. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because these are the natural gifts and talents that I was just utilizing to solve my own problem that then people wanted to help solve their problem. So I want to ask you again, what would you contribute as your value exchange to the collective if money had nothing to do with it? If it just had to do with you supporting thriving in somebody else's life and them supporting you in exchange? And what have you had that's been created for yourself or someone else that contributes to your daily living experience that you are truly grateful for? Think about those things, because contemplating this brings a whole new perspective to the value of what we do, and that which we love, and how it can be what we do to earn an income if we desire to, and if not, how we can add value to the lives of others and add magic to their daily experiences. And it's not a frivolous pursuit. It is what we are here to do to contribute to the collective. So money is not actually the focus here. It really is an abundance lifestyle. And abundance comes from living in alignment. It comes from doing what fills us up and makes us feel like we are living with purpose and on purpose. And for you, that may be crafting in a way that is with words or with sound, but it's your contribution to the collective. And that is artisanal living. Now, remember, I've got a podcast episode coming up, which is going to focus on algorithms and natural systems. If you do decide that you want to start creating content, you want to start using your crafting to earn your income, that could be a really supportive episode for you to listen to so that you can get some insights into ways that you can do it that still enables you to engage in your creative flow and activity and not be depleted by trying to keep up with algorithms. And also, I'd love to hear in the comments what your answers to the questions were. So don't forget to do that. And if you're enjoying this, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and become a part of this community, because it really is the magic of our digital world nowadays. We get to connect from across the globe, and I'd love to keep hearing your stories and what it is that creates the magic of your living experience.